Hi, my name is Yurita C. Rome, and welcome to episode 7 of the show. This is your spotlight. We will be interviewing today for a great upcoming web series, Dad-RahpySpotlight, which talks about fatherhood in New York City. And we're going to have the director, Alexander Gutierrez, the writer and star, Rick Herrera, and the co star, Jerry Diaz. Enjoy, and here's the first episode for those of you who will know and love this series as much as I do. Enjoy the show. I'll see you at the end.
Amaya, be careful. You're going mad high. You're going to fly off.
Mind if I sit here? I don't want to.
No, go ahead, man. You're good. Go ahead. Cool. No problem, man.
It's fine. Just keep playing there. I'm Rick.
Oh, what's up?
How you doing?
How you doing, Rick?
Which one's your child?
Mine's the Daredevil on the swings.
Yo, she's going like real high.
Oh, I'm Jerry, by the way.
Oh, Jerry? It's cool.
We can do it again?
We can do it again.
All right. That's not weird.
No. I look. Fathers at a park.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I take it the one eating sand is your little...
Choo-choo! Get the sand. Get sand out your mouth. Choo-choo!
She's chewing it. What is she, like 2?
Yeah, that's a good guess. Like, literally turning 2 like next month.
I remember when Amaya was 2.
Wait. Now let me guess.
Are you gonna...
Maybe around 10?
No, you're wrong.
Okay.
She's 8.
8?
But nice. Yeah. You'll get better at it. You'll get better. You still got that smell.
What?
The new dad smell. The new dad smell.
I thought I was thinking.
Yeah. No. You smell like a new dad. You stink like a new dad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, welcome to fatherhood, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's tough, but there's nothing like it.
It's great. Okay. I just felt like getting up to this point, like when we were gonna have a baby.
Okay.
Everyone was like, always giving the advice, and
Right.
And they always say like, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it is great. But there's some things I would change. Like, no shade.
Definitely.
There's 5 things I would change.
Definitely.
Right now, I got 5 things off the top.
Well, the first thing I would change, like the changing of diapers.
Oh.
Yo, Amaya used to take these huge shits, and it was like it would end up everywhere. My hair, my clothes, my mouth.
I'm not good with seeing shit. I like literally want to throw up. Until this day, my own shit. I'm the same way.
Well, that's good.
Bro, how about like, I know for me, learning how to put a stroller together. Wow, it's gonna be late. Wow, it's gonna be late. Klaus, I need help.
I remember that. Look, there's gonna be good days. There's gonna be bad days.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be days you're gonna want to run away to another country.
I mean, but you're right. I do have those moments. I'm at the phase teething.
Oh.
She's crying all
No
night.
sleep.
non-stop.
Yeah.
We don't sleep. We don't sleep. I don't even know what that is.
It's tough. Well, we're at the phase where she's doing homework and I'm helping her. She's reading these books with these big words that I don't always know how to read. What?
Take your time, sound it out.
Okay.
Fun.
Oh, okay. Oh, phenomenon. Got it.
You know what? I'm not that good at reading either, so don't be so hard on yourself.
It's embarrassing.
You ever, no judgment.
No? Judgment-free zone?
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever have moments like you don't know what you're doing? Like, I'm supposed to be raising Choo-Choo, right? Like this human being, but I feel like someone needs to take care of me. Like,
Listen.
I need help too, take care of my big ass.
Listen, I've been to Maya's dad for 7 years, and I still don't know what I'm doing sometimes. You know, sometimes I just come home, I'm super tired, ready to chill after work, and then she comes out of nowhere holding this card game, the family card game that she's Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
All she needs is the mustache, bro. But look, all she wants is for me to answer those questions for 5 minutes, and that's it, that's what she wants. So I'm there, you know? That's what I do. That's what they want. They want you to be there. Then after that, everything else, you just figure it out as you go along, you know? Oh! Amaya! Didn't I tell you you were gonna fall? Do not cry. Do not cry. Let that remind you to listen to me next time.
That's a tough love.
You gotta do it.
I mean, I like that line though. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna save it.
Well, you may have to use it because it looks like Choo-Choo made a friend.
Choo-Choo, put that squirrel down. It's not Elmo. Put the squirrel down.
She's just being one with nature.
Oh my God, that was so nasty.
I'm impressed.
What do you mean?
She caught a squirrel. That's pretty fast.
I mean, it was dead. Someone just left it there.
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
No, that's
nasty.
different. Yeah.
I don't mean to be all up in your business, but
What's up?
like I saw you writing, so
Oh.
before I got here, like I was coming to. So you like a writer?
Oh. Yeah. You know, I write, I rap, I act, anything. You know, keep the art passion alive.
Bro,
you know?
I'm literally like an actor and writer too.
What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's awesome, actually.
Yo, I know it's tough because like it feels like we don't have time to perform, like and do
Yo,
it.
tell me about it. It's
So-
like the worst part.
So yo, if you wanna like, if you ever want to share, you know what I'm saying? If you ever want to share anything, you know what I'm saying? I would love to listen. I love other artists, especially your dad too. That goes hand in hand, man.
Word?
Yeah,
You wouldn't mind?
I don't mind hearing it.
I mean, it's rough.
Yo, don't judgment free. Remember, judgment free.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, remember, this is rough.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Do your thing. Relax.
All right. Yo, I said in my 20s, I used to make love all night long. And now I'm 42, my back hurting all night long. What happened to the days of being young, wild, and free? Well, now I'm in a dress with my daughter drinking tea. Why I got a pillow when I don't even sleep? My daughter's in my bed kicking me with her feet. Back in the days, I used to party every weekend. Now, 8 o'clock, I'm asleep every weekend. Man, this feels good to reminisce. I just wish I had a book that prepared me for this, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't trade it at all. But life as a dad isn't always so sweet. I can feel the pressure of what's expected of me. There's so much more, bro, that you can't even see. I just wish I had a father that was proud of me. And that's what I got so far.
Yo, that shit was dope.
For real?
That shit was dope, bro. Yo, all jokes aside, bro, like seriously, it's like you wrote about my life. Like literally, I connected to it. Shit was hot.
Look, I know it's stupid and everything, but it's like rap helps me, man. It helps me escape. It helps me like even like 5 minutes of freedom, just mental freedom, you know.
Yo, I can relate. Like I respect what mothers do. Like I absolutely do. They, all the hard work, they get all the trophies.
Of course.
Well
deserved.
Yeah, word. But I just feel like there's another side from the father side that, you know, we need a break too. We need a break. We got so much pressure, bro. Sometimes I feel.
You know what?
But
I think you should give it a try too, man.
rapping?
Yeah, man.
That's all you.
You know
bro.
what? You know what? We're gonna do that next time. You know, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go write a rap, and then you're gonna bring it back, and then you're gonna rap it to me.
Saturday.
Alright. This gonna sound weird, right? Right. But it just made me look at it. I wanted to see you,
Right.
Like, but I didn't want to like.
Because it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, it was gonna sound gay.
But then it's like maybe like right.
Yeah, but
like funky.
Yeah, but it's fine though. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now you're saying let's meet again.
I know. It's like I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to put pressure either.
Right,
like I didn't want to come off.
You want to
like
be a gentleman.
Right. It's the first time I meet you.
Yeah.
You want to be aggressive.
It don't be easy.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah. Man.
Yo, that's dope. Like, just I'm looking forward. Like,
I listen. To be honest with you, this is dope. Like I've never had another dad to like share these things with. You know.
Yo,
I mean, you know, maybe if my dad had somebody to share this with, he could have been a better dad.
You got daddy issues too?
Yo.
Bro, this is
like
one.
You have another thing and another thing. It's a little weird.
Check it out. This is what we're gonna do, right?
Right.
And if it's cool, like let me know. I don't wanna, know me too long.
No. Right.
Like,
hey.
You know what I'm saying?
No, we good.
Stop me if I'm going too aggressive.
Judgment free.
Yeah.
Remember?
Judgment
Okay.
free. All right.
Okay.
So we meet up. I write the rap.
Right.
We meet up next time.
That's it.
And like I don't know, we just chat. Like whatever comes out.
Can I say it's like a dad date?
Like a dad date.
Like at the date.
That date.
Like at the date. Yeah.
Oh.
I just made that up. That's cool.
You hug on the first date?
Would that be too much? Yeah, then maybe that'd be weird. Basically talking about we're two guys both in different situations, right? I'm a single father, he's a father that's married, and basically the circumstances that men have to deal with, or even not even circumstances, we wanted to break some of the stereotypes and some of the myths that were out there as far as like what a father or fathers that look like us may be, how we may be how we may be acting out. Actually, yeah. So we did it for one of the reasons that you just said right now. It's like, I'm a mom. I know this much about fatherhood. And I think sometimes perspective gets, and that's what we wanted to like, because sometimes there's like this stigma, especially with dads, that, that we're not as involved, or we don't put in our share, or we're not as connected to our kids, or we don't sacrifice as much. And, we want, especially Latino, and we're both Afro-Latinos. I'm a Black Latino. We don't have we don't have those portrayals of us out in anywhere in Hollywood or anything. No, and mostly usually we're portrayed as the fathers that abandon and are not there and stuff like that. We just wanted to like, we do a lot. We're really involved with our kids. We're really, I know I am, I know Rick is. So we were like, when he approached me, he wrote, I have to give kudos. He wrote he wrote all of this. He put all of this together. I came in and added my touches to it, and I'm gonna give him full credit though. He borrowed some stuff from my life a little bit just to make it a little bit more realistic and to give it that oomph that needed. But for the most part, yeah, this is from his mind. And when we sat down, when we talked, we were talking about fatherhood and some of the stuff that, we had so many things in common. I'm a couple of years ahead of him with my kid. So he was just like, hey, man, I'm trying to put this together. We need something. And then as we went talking and we basically it's funny because our chemistry is building up on screen. And it's actually very, it's very real. Our chemistry is building up as the same as the episodes are progressing. Our relationship in real life is actually also progressing and building. And even though him and I are very cool, we're very good friends. And, now it's getting better. Like we really didn't know each other that way. We just knew each other in passing. And now we know each other.
I noticed it was like an osmosis effect, or like, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I know you because I know that person, and that person knows me because I work with them in that thing, and it's typical.
And I mean, you see each other years. Yeah, there's people that you see each other for years, and this is one of the things. Like one of these guys, like we always ran into each other, mutual respect. He's great at what he does. He respected what I did, and when we kind of came together, it's kind of blended into this, and that's why it's very genuine. That's why we're putting our very raw emotions and putting some of our own stuff into it. Because to make it relatable, because especially as dads, like who can't relate to this stuff? And sometimes it's on the other end, like the perspective of the child. So you don't have to be a father. You could be the child, and everybody's that. You don't have to be a guy or a girl or whatever you identify as for that,
Right. But also comedy would you call this like real life drama? Or is it like situational drama? Or how would you classify the show, in your opinion?
Well, there is. That's the funny thing. I think it's easy. It's been easier for me to ease into the dramatic parts because there is a comedy element to it. Like it is a very like loose, and it's very like when we met, like how we meet in the show and everything. It is comedic and it's a setup and it's a lighthearted show. And it's gonna have its moments of realness. And I think that I wouldn't want to say it's a dramedy because it's not all drama and it's not all. I think it's it's got a little bit of everything because we even have some music in there. We have it's like a musical show. We have some poetry in there. We have some, it's pretty much trying to like bring out all our whatever we feel is an artistic thing that could be a part of this. We're including it. I wrote a song for the show. A bunch of things that we're doing differently from anything else that we've ever seen, which is what we wanted to do. But yeah, I'd probably it's a situational drama, like you said. I mean, it's hard for me because I'm coming from the comedy world, so this is my first not my first foray into drama, but my first full time you're gonna be doing a lot of drama things, and so it's a little nerve-wracking for me because I don't know how to gauge that. Comedy's very easy. People laugh or they don't laugh. That's the reaction that you get. With this, I mean, if I were going on like that, I would have to be crying. People would have to cry every time I did a drama scene for me to know that I did well. So I it's one of those things where I'm taking, I'm putting myself, it's a very vulnerable thing. You kind of just put it out there and, you hope the acting gods take it and make you look all right, and the editor, the editor.
Of course.
Yeah. Trust the material. You trust the material,
No, you have to.
Yeah.
Also, what I noticed about the show has texture. Texture, what I mean in terms of it has certain tones. Like when you're a writer and you're an actor, you look for the beats,
right,
for the tempo of the show. It never feels like it's going slow.
Right.
That's the good thing.
Thank you. That's great.
Sometimes there's some shows that you're like, okay,
right, because there's composition, right? You have to build story, you have to tell the backgrounds or whatever. You have to build certain compositional things, and that isn't always. It's not always entertaining because it's setting up stuff, and it might be boring, and it's a little bit too storytelling. Right, it's a little too wordy. I mean, we've been able to tell our stories of who our characters are through our conversations very well, and I credit that to the writing. but yeah, it's hard. Again, it's hard to gauge. I'm hoping people are in it. I mean, we're getting feedback, automatic feedback, which is great. But yeah, it's hard to gauge. Like, how do you know? How do you know? Stuff.
Sincerely, I don't know. I just I get my hat tip to everybody who does, their bit of acting. This is why
Yeah.
probably I haven't done acting. I haven't been
Right.
that committed to it.
Right.
And so yeah.
I mean, it's a slow burn though. Luckily,
Mhm.
we have 3 episodes now. We're gonna have 8 episodes.
Yes,
And
that was my next
yes,
question. How many
no,
episodes?
see, I read your mind. I read your mind. So yeah,
Telekinesis. Telekinesis.
telekinesis.
Telekinesis.
But yeah, it was, but it's one of those things, like, as you could tell, like, there's episodes like, okay, there's a little drama, and then we go back to the comedy a little bit, some comedy stuff, and then we go back to drama. But
At a
up to
time.
7 and 8 leading up. I want to give a quick shout out because there's
Yes,
someone
please.
that's also made her acting debut on this show, and I'm
Hmm.
so proud of her. It's my daughter Amaya. Come here. So say hi.
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 She's been amazing. She's been an amazing actress on the show. She's like pulled her weight way better than I have. And I just wanted to let her know like how proud I am of her. And she's done an amazing job. So check her out on the show too.
Yay!
Hey.
Oh, well, this is my son Ellis. Well, both
Hey.
of you are going to be on TV, kids. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's cool.
You think you're gonna be on TV?
Cool.
Yes. She's like, yeah.
Everything, yes.
Everything, yes. Okay.
Anything,
Awesome.
including me being on TV.
There you go.
Now I am here with, well, I like to say the second half of the dynamic duo, though I've never said that formally. I'm saying it now. Um, so I interviewed Spiritual Wind, Rick.
Mhm.
Now interview Spiritual Cloud.
Thank
Alessandra.
you.
Whoa, your involvement in Dad-RahpySpotlight, like explain that to everybody. Let them know.
Oh,
Let them know.
I will let y'all know. So Rahpy, my husband, as everyone met, Spiritual Wind, he wrote it. And when he wrote it, he was like, oh, hey, babe, I wrote this. And when we do it, I would love to see if you can also co-direct with me, because he knew I wanted us to direct again, something that wasn't my own. And I was like, okay, sure. So that's how I got on board. He asked, and I was like, okay, I'm sure, I'm down. Thank you.
So, did you ever find yourself at a point that you were going over the pages with him, or you were helping him proofread it?
Meaning in the writing, or when we were doing shot lists and stuff like that?
When you were in the shot list, it's like, okay, this would work in terms of a shot, but this won't work.
Okay,
Like,
so
did you have
what
something like that?
the way we did that process was I looked at everything first on my own. And that way I had something to come to the table with. So I looked at everything on my own. I wrote for each episode, I broke it down, wrote all my notes of like how we should do it, blah, blah, blah. And then I came to him and I was like, this is what I have. And then from there, we had a discussion like what will work, what I thought would work. He said what he thought would work. And then that's how we made it work. Mm-hmm.
So, both men have mentioned, both Jerry and Rick
Yeah.
have mentioned that it's both, the stories of fatherhood. As you know, as a woman in the media, as a media consumer, that we all are at some point in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
or thanks to social media, we all are media consumers, whether we like it or not.
A word.
How did you feel about the subject in general, in terms of representing it?
Oh, the subject, I thought it was when he came to me with the idea and the fact that he already had written when he came to me, he already had written like 2 or 3. I thought it was amazing because he was able to vent his situation with fatherhood as well as revisit his issues with his dad, which he already had dealt with. But I feel like when you become a parent, you are those childhood things that you thought you worked on, they come and they resurface. And it's a time where you now have to deal with new issues that you thought were resolved, but they weren't. So I thought that it was amazing, and I thought it was so beautiful of him to be able to do that, because now he's not only letting go, but he's also sharing with the audience, with men who are usually not, don't allow themselves to be vulnerable, don't talk about this. A lot of men are machista, and they don't, share about how they really feel, and are honest about like what they're going through, especially with how they dealt with their parents. And I thought that was the most amazing and beautiful, humbling thing to do, because this story is very special, and it's not really, out there. A lot of men don't talk about it, but for women, like for us, as a mom, I found a lot of resources as a mom, when I was going through stuff. And for fathers, we don't really have that for men. A lot of women talk, like we find like our friends, or, oh my God, what you're going through, but men don't have that. I don't see it. And I think this is amazing. And a lot of people, like, even from I would love for my father to see these episodes too, so he could learn, a little bit, even though it might not change him, but at least he's seeing it from a male's perspective.
Right. Well, my first impression when I saw the first episode, the spelling, of course, I was about it, and I was like,
yeah, that's another thing with the title. Like, that wasn't the title. We're like, we have to figure out a way. So he wanted to combine it, like dad going on therapy. So some people thought it was like rapey, like rape.
Wow. Yeah, I was like, like I told Rick, I said, what kind of people like, what's wrong with them? Do they get out much? Like, they picked up at least the morning newspaper. Some of them are free, Maybe pick up a copy of the New York Times, go to the, get yourself a dictionary, lexicon, those are dated things to do. Go to Google and search whatever word you think.
Yeah, what that is.
It's really not that tough. But yeah, when I first saw the show, I told him I thought it was like a dad's biography. So that's what I thought. But of course,
Okay, I see why you. Okay, got it. Because the RA. Okay, got it.
So for me, being that I'm in some capacity in the film industry, is radically different. When it comes to titling, titles are everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes you could have the work created, but then to find a title so you can shop it around is the fun part. And so when I saw the first show, I was just like, I love the concept. There was two dads on the bench, and I was like, how how many times I've randomly spoken to people, and I end up making friends with mothers and kids, y qué sé yo. Dads, is the realest truth, are harder to engage in conversation.
Yeah.
Some of them are very timid. Some of them are very shy. And then some of them are really funny because, like, one time I was talking to this father, and he was there with the kids.
Yeah.
And his wife showed up later, and I just said hi to his wife. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to take your man. Please, you can have him. My son's over there, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not playing with your kids, but he's over.
Just to make sure.
Okay. I have a ring. Trust me, I'm good. Done.
Exactly. Not interested.
Like, keep your headache to yourself. It's all good. There's nothing to worry about. But I think that was the beauty of it.
Yeah.
That there was a simplicity and a realness of a situation that can occur. It's just, I'm sure to create the dialogue around it was hard. And I'm sure shooting it was not easy either, because I'm sure some of the guys had some mannerisms. And you're like, don't talk so much with your hands, pero tampoco don't look like you're depressed.
Actually, to be honest, it wasn't.
Really?
It was because they're playing themselves, so they didn't really have to go so dig deep to search for anything, because they were being themselves and they were being honest. And that was what I felt was the easiest thing. And it wasn't that hard to shoot. because we didn't have a lot of takes because they just nailed it right away. And plus their chemistry was great. They, the way they dealt with each other, that bromance was just
What
live.
about bloopers? Do you have any bloopers?
Oh, of course. You know them. They two comedians together. Forget it.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
We
didn't
spoke about
answer.
the acting. We spoke about the actors.
Oh, the actors,
And
yes.
then there was a nice ease to the whole transition. Now, speak of it from the directing side, because you did mention earlier in the conversation that you like directing other people's projects. Explain that.
Okay, not that I liked is I have directed my own project before and assistant directed multiple people. But I always wanted to direct someone else's project as opposed to something that I wrote because it's totally different take. And it was great because this time I'm working with someone else's vision, who's the writer. And also I'm working as a co-director because of course we're both directing this project. And I thought it was a great experience. One, because I'm working with my partner, who's my partner 24/7, my husband. And two, it allowed me to work again because I was on a break. I've been on a break ever since I gave birth to our daughter. And it's by choice. And it's like I tell people, it's the best role I've ever taken on in my life. And it was like getting those creative juices running again, like we were talking earlier when we weren't recording as moms, when you have that break, it's like, oh shit, these things have to, start flourishing again. Right.
Oh, yes.
So it's like you're kind of like my brain is like, oh, wow, I do have this. Oh, wait. So it was like, working on things that you forgot, but didn't forget. If that makes sense.
Like it was like sleep mode.
Yeah, that's what that's exactly. I was on sleep mode and got reactivated, and it's like, oh, great. And I've been writing too, so it has also helped to me with that. When I go back to my writing, now I'm seeing things even better. So it also has enhanced me more as a writer.
Oh, okay. In terms of writing, like if you had a specific genre of writing, what would you like to write?
I don't really go for a genre. I don't even think about that. But I'm more of a serious person. Like I love to laugh, but like, you have the comedians. Like my husband is a comedian. Like he's funny all the time. And me, I'll be funny with just out of the blue. Like I'm corny and funny out of the blue, but I'm a very emotional and serious person. And it's not not serious in a bad way. It's just soy seria. You know what I mean? But I like to have fun. So I feel like for me, I write more things that are deep.
Right.
That are deep, emotional, and vulnerable. I feel like, that make you think and also emote. If that makes sense.
If I see if I see the next clip and I'm getting emotional, I'm gonna call you. No.
What episode are you up to?
I'm up to episode 7. Episode 7 thus far.
No, not for your show. What episode did you watch all 3 episodes already? Okay, so you see how it's getting deeper.
No, it is.
It's getting more serious.
Yes. Yeah. And the guys have spilled the beans that it is 8 episodes.
Yes, it's 8 episodes.
Like
5 more to go.
That's cool. But the whole season's already been filmed.
Yeah.
It's just about
all done. Every Thursday at 7 p.m.
There you go. At least I'm off on Thursdays. If not, I can catch the replay Friday.
Yeah, you could catch the replay and watch it again and again.
Yeah. Here with the writer and also the star, the second star, but the principal star, Mr. Rick Wind Herrera.
Hey, what's up, Bo?
Oh, so we're going to. We just spoke with Jerry, who is
Yeah,
the second person in the show, and
it's also my boo.
he goes,
Boo number two.
his bromance.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So definitely, I would tell the audience a little bit because Jerry described the show as kind of an homage to fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just really simplifying what he said. It was a long,
Yeah,
it was a long explanation. Love you, Jerry, is a long
yeah.
explanation. So I just put it into one simple
Yeah.
sentence. Um, so for the show, what was your
Mhm.
aha moment?
Um, as in like coming up with
Aha,
the
I can
idea,
do this.
or
Yes.
okay, so the show came about around during the pandemic, right? So I was creating,
Hmm.
I was finishing writing my third one-man play. And while
Oh,
I was finishing that, I was like, well, I know I can't, because I was supposed to be on pace to perform it during the pandemic. But I was like, well, pandemic's happened. I can't perform anywhere. So let me keep finishing it up and getting it better. Then once that was done, and then I was working on something else that I wanted to do, I had this idea about fatherhood already. And it
right.
was just like in the back of my head. I put it like in a pot and like a sancocho, I was just letting it marinate, right? And then I said I want to do something about fathers, and there should be more content about there. I feel like there's a lot of content for women in motherhood, and if your breast is not working with the milk, there's a support group for that. If you having postpartum, there's a group for that. If you feeling depressed or you just want to choke your kid out because you're stressed and your husband is not helping you, there's a support for that. And I'm just like, what the fuck is the support for dudes? Like, we're going through my titty working, but I don't got milk coming out of it. But at the same time, like, I need someone to vent to sometimes too, because we go through some real shit.
Yeah.
So, and there was like a little bit, and I was like, there should be more content of that. Just,
Mhm.
and then how I like to work, I just like to go to the heart of it as well. I want to make you laugh, but I want to make you think, and I want to give you some lessons that will help me.
Right, right.
And I want to go to I want to cut you in the jugular about the real shit. So I
Okay.
had this idea about two
Ouch.
guys.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Kill you with the truth.
Wait.
I had this idea with two guys, fathers, talk about fatherhood and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then I said, okay, what am I going to do? So it wasn't until I would take my daughter to the park one day, and
Mhm.
I like to observe the world around me. And I saw all these empty benches. And I feel like as a human beings, we don't use these benches anymore. Benches are there for us to sit down, take a breather, chat, communicate, observe, meditate, whatever. If the bench is a bench. And I'm like, we don't use this no more. Why are we're all like engaged in our phones and not even communicating with nobody? And I was like, aha, it's going to be about two fathers talking about fatherhood, and they meet at a children's park on a bench. I said, that's it. I got my location. I got what I wanted. Now, what do I want to talk about? Not just only about fatherhood, right? But what about our lives, my life, my fatherhood, my personal thing? So like fatherhood is this big world. So I wanted to keep the series short to right, 10 to 12 minutes around that frame. And I wanted to also just give you a taste of fatherhood, but also what also affects fatherhood is our own personal relationships with our parents, because that can trickle down to relationship that we'll have with our kids. And that's also part of fatherhood. Because we tend to think that the moment we have a child, we want to be the best thing we could for that child. And that's great. But we don't heal our own personal demons and issues within our own parents, which can naturally trigger to the kid, and subconsciously. So I wanted to talk about that because we're so easy to be like, I do everything for my baby. I do everything, dreams and goals. And all of a sudden it becomes about this child. And it's true, but you forget about yourself, and you're not supposed to. And also you forget your own pain, and you forget that you're also human. And then that kid is looking at you, is looking up to you, and it realizes that you're human, but you're going to make the same, maybe similar mistakes that your parents did. And they're going to look at it and not realize until you're older and be like, yo, dad, I appreciate when you did this. And you're like, I was there for you. How could you? Oh my God. Like, but you know what I'm saying? So it was all of that. And I was like, let me try to create this within 12 minutes.
Well, that's yeah, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. So
Um, well, what I took away when I watched the first 3 episodes thus far that have been released. If you have not watched Dad-Rahpy, please go to their YouTube channel, shameless plug,
mhm.
and watch them on Facebook Live. And
Mhm.
they have a group there too.
Yeah.
Watch the episodes. Watch, 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 watch. Look at it.
Yeah. And then that's when I came up. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Sure.
the whole title thing was like, well, this is gonna be like dad therapy. And that's when I'm like, oh, call it Dad-Rahpy.
Oh.
So
I
your
thought
two
it was like
dads.
dad biography, dead ass. I really thought it was like dad biography.
You know, that also works, right? Because a biography, if I still remember on the test, I probably failed when I was young. You know, when they ask you what's autobiography or biography, biography is like still talking about somebody's lives and stuff like
Yes,
that.
of
Or
course.
so
Right.
that also works. Some people said that. I just didn't like when what I took out. I had to break it apart because originally it was Dad-Rahpy, and I had a couple people that says, "Oh, Dad-Rahpy," and I'm like, I don't want anything with dads and rape in it. And that's when I broke it up. I put Dad-Rahpy, and then people got it, and then people was like, "Oh, Dad-Rahpy," and I was like, you know what? Whatever you think it is, that's great.
Wow. Yeah, you know some very interesting people in life.
Right. I was like, where did you
I'm
get
just
that?
gonna
I was
leave it
like,
at that. You know,
yeah.
some very interesting people in
I
life.
just think the education system failed them, and that's okay.
Yes. Go USA. I'm sorry to put it so. That's putting it nicely. Go USA.
Yeah.
Head down. Look at shame.
Word.
So you had the park, you had the setting,
Yeah.
and so for those of you who have never ever seen Rick's one-man show that he did called The Naked Truth. Great picture, by the way.
Thank you.
Kind of like
shock. I wanted a shock culture. What the fuck is this about? Why is he naked? Why does he have the car? And I'm like, yeah.
I got the guitar one. Que carro ni carro. I remember guitar, bro. And like CD looking like, you know, obviously this is the building underneath the building, and here's the light, and they just hit them. And also his work with spiritual guru enlightenment, who also I believe has a BronxNet show as well.
Yep.
And she's has a foray into movies, and also she was an inspiration for the show. She, you know, lessons.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Anytime I do something, you know, I like to give credit where the credit's due, in a sense that a lot of lessons that I learned from this, right? There's some things that I learned on my own, and there's a big amount of it that I learned from her to heal these issues that I had with my life. And I always give credit. So I don't want people, because we all learn from somebody, right? So I just don't want nobody to think that like, oh, he got it all figured out. Like, we have certain areas of our lives figured out because we learned from certain things, books, people, family. But these brunt of these lessons, that how I learned to heal my relationship with my father and my issues came from her. Because I was very angry and lost in that sense of like, you know, not knowing how to deal with these emotions. You know.
Rick, I can tell you're angry ever so often. No, in the show, because of the way you are acting in it. You know, there's some truth to what you're saying when you say certain lines. I'm just like, yeah, I've been there. I just won't put it on camera, but I've been there.
Yeah.
I've had that time that I'm just like, really? I got your 23 chromosomes? and how did it work out for me?
Right.
Oh, this is what I'm doing. You don't even, it's like, you might understand a third of what the hell I'm actually doing. Okay.
Yep.
And it happens a lot. In terms of the show, you had your start. What else do you plan to do with it later on?
I would like to, you know, my biggest goal is just let it reach to every person that is meant to reach, and so they can learn from this, heal, relate, and just start a communication with themselves or with somebody else, right? That is the ultimate goal. Just like let it go, let the people keep sharing it, and hopefully it'll heal a lot of people. And we'll be getting a lot of responses, personal text messages and emails from people, like really saying things that like I share some of them, but there's some that a lot of them I got is like they go deep. So I had this with my dad, and I had that with, and I'm like, that's
it's just to to be fair, just just give a gloss over version.
Right, yeah.
And I would just say it just hit home for a lot of people.
And I'm like, this is beautiful, and I'm like, I want that to keep happening. So the ultimate goal is that, and also like to put in film festivals, and we want to do a big screening of it, showing episodes 1 through 8. There's 8 episodes for the season, and those are the big 2 things, 3 things. Let it keep sharing it. Let it reach everyone that needs to reach it to. Do a screening and try to put it into film festivals and see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, like whether we get into the film festivals or not, I feel like we already won within ourselves, just creating this project and just seeing how it's reacting to the people. I'm doing the film festivals just to get it out more,
Of course. So, in terms of writing, how long did it take you to write? In terms of
it took me literally for the whole series about maybe 2 months, a month and a half or 2 months, right? So I had this idea, and I would revise it, and then I brought it to Jerry probably within 3 weeks, right? Because what sparked this idea more of like who I wanted to use, me and Jerry did a podcast. I invited him over to the Winning Cloud podcast, and I was always a fan of Jerry, and I always told him, man, like, I was like, you're so funny, you know what I'm saying? And I told him in the interview, this is our first time actually like me reaching out. I was like, yo, you're a dope dude. Let's get to know each other. So we got to know each other in the podcast, and me and him was just vibing out. And he's talking about his life and my life and his fatherhood. And I told him there, I was like, yo, bro, like, I'm glad we did this because I always wanted to know more about you. And I always thought like you was funny, and you had the comedy energy, but I saw so many different things in this interview, like the way you spoke. I saw so many colors in you, and I would love to work with you one day. Like, and so then when this thing came along and I had the idea and I already had like a draft of some of these episodes, I said, I want to see how it would sound with Jerry. And then we did a couple Zooms, and he loved it. And then I didn't have to fix that much because it was so weird that like what I was writing about my life, it was similar to his life with his dad. So I revised it, making sure that it was his words, how he would say it, because at the end of the day, I want you to live these words, and I wanted to come from you. And then we'll talk more about his daughter and his father. And then I will revise little things according to his life in the script that happened with him. And also at the same time, I was dissecting him like, oh, this, like when I hear things like this still bothers you, I want to use that. Because it bothered me. So I start revising, and every day I revise and revise and revise. And before you know it, about 2 months in, I had the whole outline, and it was like, and the episodes right now, I was like, this is it, right? And I wanted to make sure where it was going to go. And then we'll do the Zooms, and we just kept on working it through there. But I always want to work with Jerry, and I'm like, and he always wanted to do more dramatic stuff, because I remember he mentioned people didn't really look at him as the dramatic type, and I was like, well, you're a comedian, and you're naturally funny, so that's a gift. I know you could do dramatic, and I seen you on stage, so I was already having this director's eye, just scouting him out. Like, I would like to work with this guy one day, and if it's meant, it will be meant. And then when we finally signed everything, he's on board, I said, we're gonna work now, and we're both was on the same page. And and me, how I work, I was telling him, listen, I go to the juggler, bro. Like with my shows, I like to make people laugh, but I want to pull out the truth, because that's what's the comedy in it, but that's what's going to heal yourself. So then people can relate, and then people can reflect, because now they see a mirror, and we're not going to lie with this work, because people can see that. So so the time frame was about 2 months in. I would say I had the whole show written out, and it was just coming out, and every day I work on it for an hour and fix it up.
Okay, so how many pages were you doing per day? Was it the 10-12 or was it 15-20 and you just shaved it down to 12 in order to have a working script?
You know, I knew that I wanted to keep it short, so I'm gonna be honest, like, you know, this was different since when I was writing a one-man play, and like I'm like, oh, I did 5 pages today, oh, I did 1 page today. I just respected the process. So for instance, what I did, I wrote an outline of where the story was and where I hopefully wanted to go.
Right.
And then I just let the higher power and my spirit guide me when what I wanted to write within each episode, right? So what I mean by that is if I was working on episode 1 and it so happened to end on page 11 because I said everything I want to say, now I could go back and revise and make sure it moves good, and then I'll do a table read. I would leave it as that.
Okay.
I said, okay, so it was 11 pages. So there was some episodes, right? Some episodes that was like maybe 8 pages. And then some of them was like 10 pages. But I didn't aim that. I just made sure I told what I wanted to tell in this story in this episode. And if that was complete, then I was happy to move on and then read the whole thing together to see if it's flowing where it needs to flow. Because I didn't want to just hold people on. Like, why, you know, even when we was editing, I was like, there was some jokes that we used. I'm like, where we got the laugh, we could cut that. Let's go forward. So I let the process the story take me where it needed to go. I knew what I wanted to share. I knew what I wanted to hit. And then I just went after it and then see if it went naturally with the story, just writing it. So some days, like I said, it was 10 pages. Some days it was 8. Some days it was like maybe 13, but then I cut some of it. I saw the slack where I was like, oh, it's not needed. And that's it.
Yeah. So after this show, like you're planning to do more seasons, I'm guessing.
Hopefully we'll love to do a season 2. We have ideas for it, you know, but we haven't sat down like yet, you know, and like discussed it. But the way the show ends, we left it open for season 2. Okay. You know, we left it open to see where we could take this, which is many different places. We did speak about it. It's many different places we could take it, by fatherhood and also including motherhood. So for season 2, there's a lot of possibilities, which I like because now we have even more of a playing field. Because the way it ends, I'm not trying to give everything away. You can see that but we're on a journey of self-healing. Okay. So
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Self-healing journey. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
So don't spoil it. We're gonna get everybody to watch this, please. I think we should just, you know, because there's already, like you said, there's so much saturation on motherhood.
Right. Yeah.
That, you know, fatherhood itself is just like pretty microscopic at this point.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too, because it's like, it's there, but then there's this thing with society, how we're taught as men to like, we're not allowed to have those feelings. And if we do, we don't talk about it. And if we have another man to talk about it, then it's gay, you know? And then on top of that, we also have this thing where we have so much expected from us, but then at the same time, we're forgiven if we don't step up to the plate, right? So what I mean by that is like, oh man, I got all these stress and pressure of being a dad. I was like, well, suck it up, do it. And then there's another avenue. I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. I'm out. You're a deadbeat dad. You're a fuck up. Peace. And that's it. But mothers don't have that. Mothers can't just if you leave like your child, like, as a mother, like you won't hear the end of it. Oh, you're a deadbeat mom. How could you? Blah, blah, blah. Like mothers have all on this high pedestal thing. And then, so, you know, and also I think it's unfair for dads. I think, you know, we do have a side, but, you know, I think we should have more of a platform to talk about how we feel, to express how we feel. And if we dare, give us our roses too, because even though it's like, it's our response. It's a responsibility that we're supposed to be there. But then again, it's like the responsibility is also like, where if you're not there, then the mom is going to take care of it because mothers are strong. And it shouldn't be that way either. Like, it should be like, no, you should be responsible for your child,
Yeah.
even if you walk away. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to, at the same time, and also shine a light on a lot of damaged boys that turn to men, to be like, I get it. You didn't have a dad, and your dad didn't have a dad. So that kept on.
Yes, the vicious cycle.
Yeah, but you also have a choice to fix that and not to run away from that. You know what I'm saying? You can stop the cycle, just like I stopped the cycle with my own dad. You know what I'm saying? I went out and looked for him. He didn't have to look for me. He did it. I went out and looked for him. Why? For my closure. I needed that. I needed to let him know what you did was fucked up, and it's cool. I forgive myself for carrying this anger. But at the same time, look, I'm a grown man. We could chat if you want, but I just wanted to let you know. But I healed myself. You know what I'm saying? So now that journey is like closed for me. And whatever he decides to do moving forward, if he wants to talk to me or not, it's up to you. It doesn't bother me no more. But a lot of people tend to like not. They tend to like talk about it and not put in the work to heal from it, which is a big thing.
Do you think, for example, in society now we have the whole thing of boy mom or girl dad, and it's just like, okay, do you think fatherhood boils down to gender in terms of, well, it's easier to be a girl dad because girls, you get, they're more affectionate, they're more this, they're more that. And if you have a boy, he usually goes with his mom.
Yeah.
He doesn't love me that much. And,
right.
He's a little mini me running around.
Yeah.
But
I think that plays this. I believe this that plays true to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, the spirit that's in that boy or girl is going to play out its journey the way it's supposed to, right? So, yeah, boys could be closer to their moms, but there's some boys that are not, and they're closer with their dads, right? So I think everything is a phase until the personality really kicks in and they start discovering who and what they are and what they brought from their different past lives and this life and what they observe. And I think that starts molding, right? And then that starts changing. So I don't think, parenting comes down to gender. I think it just comes down to who and what that child is and what is going to become, right? Because that can change, even the sexuality of it, LGBT community and stuff like that. That's another journey. So I think it just boils down to like, that child's journey.
So my guests, Alexandra Gutierrez, Rick Herrera, and Jerry Diaz they're the director and the cast of Dad-Rahpy, an exciting web series on all the platforms of social media, on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for the pleasure of your time. Enjoy, stay well, stay great, and stay blessed. Good night.